Okay, let's talk about debts that aren't going to be forgiven in bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is an important tool to allow you to get a fresh start, but there's certain public policies that come into play that we don't want as a society people to discharge or get rid of any type of debt that they might possibly have. For example, we can't discharge debts for fraud, embezzlement, willful injury, malicious injuries. Anything we do intentionally or on purpose is going to survive a bankruptcy proceeding. We also can't discharge, and it has nothing to do with being a bad person. It's just a matter of public policy. We can't discharge child support, spousal maintenance, or alimony. We can't discharge most taxes and most student loans. And these things turn on some very tricky types of analysis. And so we won't even attempt to address those here in a video. That's why it's important to take your personal financial situation into an experienced consumer bankruptcy attorney like our offices, and have us take a look at your entire complete financial situation. The reason you file for bankruptcy is because you want a discharge order from a federal judge that tells your creditors they no longer have the right to try to collect something that they could collect before. Now, just because all debt is not dischargeable in bankruptcy doesn't mean that we throw the baby out with the bathwater. We need to remember that discharging some debts that are oppressive can give us a fresh start, a new beginning, a clean slate. It can give us an opportunity to look out at our lives and see if we can't restructure our finances now with fewer obligations to be able to keep up on those things that are still out there, things that survived the bankruptcy. Remember that we're talking about the most treacherous, the most difficult, the most filled with traps and side doors and hiding places when we talk about the debts that can't be discharged. And your actions in anticipation of filing for bankruptcy are very important. For example, credit card companies can file a lawsuit within a bankruptcy or a complaint for non-dischargeability in bankruptcy to have their credit card survive bankruptcy. They would need to show the court or the judge to their satisfaction that you've engaged in some sort of improper activity that should allow that debt to survive bankruptcy. Filling out a credit application when you're trying to get a credit card that puffs your income or overstates your ability to repay is something that they could come in and argue is a reason for them to have that debt survive bankruptcy so they can continue to collect even beyond the bankruptcy discharge. They could argue non-dischargeability because you used a lot of credit shortly before filing for bankruptcy or loaded up on debt. Bankruptcy is intended to allow honest debtors to get a fresh start. If you already know you're in trouble, you already know you can't afford to pay the debt, then for goodness sake, don't incur new obligations. Now, there are actually some lawyers out there that will advise their clients, well, you're not going to be eligible for credit for a while, so why don't you maximize those credit cards? That is totally wrong. You also are going to be in trouble if you took out, when you used the cards, you already knew that you were not going to be able to pay that debt back. And that's the example that I was just giving, but not upon the advice of a lawyer. Let's say that you know that you aren't going to be able to pay the debt back, but you have to meet living expenses and you have to get some medical bills taken care of. I think you need to expect that if you use credit card debt and you use somebody else's money, under those circumstances, that debt is going to survive bankruptcy. And so you need to be prepared to make some sort of a payment arrangement with the creditor. We can either assist you to do that through the bankruptcy or you can do that after the bankruptcy. But it's very possible that if you use credit at a time that you can't afford to repay it, that the creditor will file a complaint for non-dischargeability within the bankruptcy. Please schedule up an appointment to meet with an experienced consumer bankruptcy attorney in our office. We look forward to seeing you.